Anthony Scaramucci is former White House communications director. He joins us now. What were you thinking, Anthony, as you were watching on at the president there?
Well, I got to say, first of all, he's in my dad's hometown, Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. So, and he had the entire town turn out for that. I saw how crowded it was. But that's him. That's what makes him him. That's why he's going to win re-election. I mean, he's off the cuff. He's very present in these conversations, and he doesn't want to let you know this, but I'll let you know this. He's analyzing everybody on that field, and he's looking for their weaknesses, and he's going to surgically strike when necessary once he figures out who the competition is.
Well, he went even further, calling out Bernie Sanders and other possible Democratic opponents coming up. Watch this.
Let's say I'm running against Pocahontas or Crazy Bernie. He wants to raise your taxes. He wants to create massive amounts of crime. He wants to open your borders. When he goes out, and I say one thing, African American, Hispanic, Asian, you have the lowest level of unemployment in the history of our country. How does somebody fight that?
You know, he actually went as far as to be so funny to say, you know what, maybe I should be against the wall, because then Democrats will be for it.
Yeah, well, he said, I've heard him say that privately. He says, let me pick 2 or 3 things Senator Schumer likes, and I'll say that I'm for them, and this way they'll get stopped. So, but again, I think, what you're catching on him right now is he's cataloging who he thinks his adversaries are, and he's preparing for it. But he is saying something that is factually correct. Because of his policies, because of the strengthening at the border, the minority unemployment situation has improved dramatically. You're seeing wage growth, and you are printing GDP numbers now in the 4s. If you stay in the 3.5, 4 zone, it's amazing.
Is that a forecast, by the way?
It's not a forecast, because I think it'll be bumpy and uneven, but I do think the president's policies can sustain north of 3. And let's just do the math together. A 3% GDP growth doubles the size of the economy in 18 years. Sandra, that resolves so many of our problems, entitlement problems, Social Security, Medicare issues. And so the president's focus on growth and evening out the employment situation as it relates to wages, meaning pressing wages up in the lower and middle class families, is going to lead him to.
Did you like what you saw with that report this morning? Some economists are using it as a reason to say it missed expectations, that jobs growth number wasn't as big as anticipated.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying it's going to be uneven. Everybody that's trained as an economist knows that this is not going to be a 45-degree angle upward. But the generic things are right. What I've always said, and I'll be very candid here as well, we got to be super careful on the trade stuff. Directionally understand where the president wants to go. He's right on the macro, but let's figure out a way to work with our allies, get the tariffs to where he wants them, which is actually a reduced tariffs on both sides, and then work alongside of our Chinese competitors, if you will, to see if we can grow all of our economies together. That'll make those numbers a lot better.
Dan Henninger from the Wall Street Journal was just here. He just wrote this big piece about Republicans focus on the economy. President Trump, focus on the economy. Your biggest accomplishment, your biggest victory, focus on that. But we are seeing the president focusing on his border wall. In fact, he's threatening to shut down the government ahead of midterms on that. Do you agree with the president's strategy there? He says we're about to get really nasty over the wall.
Well, I think what he's frustrated by, do I agree with it? It works for him. What I think he's super frustrated about is that he's calling for the wall. He's been calling for the wall as one of his #1 campaign promises. He knows intuitively that base of people, they want a strengthened border, because what we all know about the border is that people flood across the border, they participate in the welfare state in a way that it misallocates the system. And so Milton Friedman said once, if you're going to have a welfare state, which we do, you need a strong border. Otherwise, free market forces dictate that people will come across the border. And so, and I do believe, and you have to give the president credit for this, that tightening at the border has taken the slack out of the economic situation on the employment side for the African American and Hispanic American families. So the guy's been resoundingly successful. He could probably dial back and be more strategic tweeting.
Where? Oh, tweeting?
Oh, yeah, he could dial back on some of the. I think he's now in a position where he's got a tremendous amount of allies out there and media surrogates that are pushing his agenda, and I think guys like Bill Shine are going to help him get that agenda out there more aggressively. And so let's play a little nicer with the press. I think we'll be in much better shape. Those approval ratings should be north of 50. Let's play a little nicer. Let's get get a peace pipe out there and smoke it a little bit.
On that
tobacco smoke. We haven't made cannabis
It is
legal
Friday
yet.
afternoon,
By the way,
everybody.
I'm not allowed to be on before Greg Gutfeld. That's in my contract. I just want to make sure. I know he's out there in the green room and he's writing down jokes right now.
Coming in any
Yeah,
moment.
it's damaging.
Anthony Scaramucci.
I'm calling my agent.
Always good to have you. I hope you don't cross paths in the hallway.